Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Faith Focus Weekly Discipleship Podcast. I'm coughing a lot. Sorry, that's just a reality we're dealing with this week. My name is Kevin Rognes, and I'm Discipleship Director here at Faith Covenant Church. And I'm just very thankful that you would choose to make some time to spend with us, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on any of the major podcasting platforms. As always, I want to encourage you to make sure you subscribe to not miss any of our weekly content. And if you can, leave us a review to let us know how we're doing. That's how we get better, and we always appreciate doing that. Also, my email address is listed in the episode comments down below. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please let me know there. Today, I am very excited because I am joined by Vicki Newendorp.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, Vicki.
Hi, Kevin. Good to be here.
So Vicki recently joined our team, our staff, as our Interim Children's Minister. What's the official title?
I think it's Interim Director of Children's Ministry, but
yes,
I'll answer to whatever.
Yeah, Vicki. I'll just call you Vicki.
Yeah, just call me Vicki.
Yeah, because I'm not going to remember that title
Yeah,
every
that's totally
time.
fine.
So we just wanted to... Again, I'm very sorry. This cough thing is annoying. It's been going on for over a month. We just wanted to take some time to give our podcast audience a little bit more opportunity to get to know Vicki as she has joined our staff team. So, Vicki, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Who's your family? How long have you been here?
Who are we? All right. Well, deep questions.
Yes.
Who are you?
Yes.
Well, my name is Vicki Newendorp. My family, we've been at Faith Covenant. So my son is 17 and a half. So it means we've been here for 17 years.
Okay.
And my husband is Dave, and we have a couple of kids. So James is a junior in high school. He is, like I said, 17, well on his way to adulthood, which seems very strange. Emily is a freshman in high school.
Yikes.
As well. So I have two in high school, and she's 14. And then this summer we got a puppy named Pepper. So Pepper's 10 months old and quite a handful.
Yeah.
We're crazy about her.
Any 10-month-old anything is going to be a lot.
Yeah, it's like having another child and a brand new, like a toddler again.
I'm affirming you as if I know what it's like, but I've never had a dog.
Yeah. Well, and we said we were never going to get a puppy. We were going to get an older dog. And then when it came time to actually get a dog this summer, when it was the right time, Emily found Pepper and fell in love with her. And then we,
couldn't say no.
One by one fell in love with her. And now we're all crazy about her, even though she drives us nuts. We love her. And so she's a big part of our family. So yeah, I've been here. We've been at Faith Covenant for 17 years. I'm 45. That's a question that I get sometimes. Like, people think I look really, really young. So I'm in my mid-40s.
I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, most people don't. I'm okay with, I have some white hairs that are coming in, and I'm like, oh, maybe then people think I'm
starting
my
to notice
age.
a couple coming in here, too, and I'm like, I'm aging.
Yeah. My husband Dave has a gray beard, or gray and white salt and pepper beard. It's distinguished, right?
Yeah.
And so let's see, I have worked at the church in multiple capacities over the years. My husband, Dave, and I were on staff with Crew, working with college students before James was born. And then after James was born and we moved up here to the cities, I worked here in the worship and communications department. This is my second stint as the interim children's director. I worked as the director of children's ministry for close to 5 years, leading up to December of 2020. Let's see, I love to sing. I love music in general. I love to read, though I don't get to do as much of that as I would like.
That's what everybody who loves to read says.
Yeah. I love to write. I love to do creative things. I love to paint with watercolors and to sketch, things like that. I'm trying to think if there's other things you might want to know about me or my family. James, sometimes you'll hear us talk about our son James has a disability. He has a rare genetic syndrome called Rubinstein-Taybi syndrome.
Okay.
So kind of affects him similar to like a Down syndrome, but it's a different set of chromosomes involved. So we're active in kind of the disability community as well. And I've done a lot of things like with the Northwest Conference that our Faith Covenant is a part of for disability ministry pieces as well. And Emily's a competitive dancer, so I am not a dance mom like the dance moms in the show. For any of you who watch the show, that is not what most dance moms...
I saw a couple of clips on YouTube once, and I was like, yikes.
Yes, this is not what most dance moms are like. I don't know any dance moms at my studio that are, or at Emily's studio that are like that.
And like, I'm sure part of why they're like that is they're on TV, so they...
Right. Oh, yeah. They play it up and... Yeah. But yeah, that's
told
toxic.
To play it out.
Yeah, and that's toxic. And Emily's dancing is not toxic and has been
if it were,
we would pull her out, right? Absolutely, and we love her studio, and so that's been a part of our family's life in the last couple of years. Dave and Emily even do daddy daughter,
nice,
and perform in a group that way. I'm really grateful to get to be here, and I'm really, really glad to. This has been our family's home for so long, and so it feels, we're really grateful to be a part of the body life of the church. Like we even, as I think about our family, we lost a baby boy in between Emily and James to miscarriage. So when we lost Zachary, I was thinking back a couple weeks ago, just Faith Covenant has seen us through, James being an infant and all of his things as they rolled out and all the different diagnoses and things that we went through and the loss of Zachary and the birth of Emily and just, our kids are in high school. Like the church has been a part of every fabric of our life through, and there's been a lot of hard things and good things and beautiful things in all of that. But just, it has intertwined into the fabric of our family, and that's really significant too.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you've served in this role before. What's different in your life in the last 4 years since you were last in this role?
Sure.
I mean, certainly there was the pandemic.
Yes. Yeah. So funny enough, we had just had a family meeting on the stage in March of 2020, announcing that I was going to have a sabbatical and then come back to, in a different capacity to launch a disability ministry. And that ended up being the week before everything shut down. So I stayed on through December of 2020, recording all of the YouTube videos every week for the kids, and that kind of stuff. And so, but since then, I feel like a lot of life has happened. The pandemic absolutely, was a significant time. I think it was a very difficult for everyone. A lot of kind of a season of cumulative grief in a lot of ways, and very isolating in a lot of ways. And yet, for those of you who haven't met her, Shelley Brinkman is our amazing admin. Amazing. We adore her. And she and I were just talking upstairs just about, kind of had that catalyzing season of the pandemic and then, beginning to emerge out of that. But, and how God, like the redemptive piece of God taking hard things and the beautiful things that have kind of come out of that, and how we've changed out of that. And so for me, I'm like, we've got the pandemic for me, like for our family, James is, a little more is very medically complex. And my parents are immune compromised, and we had our niece born in 2020 in April and whatnot. So that time was certainly far beyond just 2020 for us. Like that kind of continued on. So there was the pandemic piece. There was, my kids making the transition from middle school to high school. There was a lot of mental health things that we've navigated as a family, and a lot of things. I did some disability pieces for the conference through there, but I think it's certainly been who I am then and who I was now, like I can see how God has taken me and kind of grown and stretched and changed and shaped me through all those hard things. And my mom always used to say when I was growing up, like hard things press us to the heart of God more than anything else does. And I feel like over the last, 3 years or whatever it's been, I feel like my walk with Jesus is deeper. My prayer life became very, like, as our family has navigated some really hard stuff in the last couple of years, I just found myself talking to God a lot and crying, and at times just desperately crying out to God. But just that ongoing dialogue with God, like my prayer life really took on a different feeling. I used to always feel like I had to fix everything. I'm an Enneagram 2 for any Enneagram fans out there. And so a helper, I used to feel like I had to fix everything. And over the last few years, God has really mellowed my heart to be like,
let it go.
You know what? You can't.
Yeah.
That's not your role to fix it all. And so I feel like the last few years, even as we've navigated a lot of hard things kind of in our own personal world, and sometimes I feel like I'm holding a lot for people that I love, I feel like God has given me a deep sense of peace right now that says, I'm holding you. And so it's allowed me, there's a lot more freedom in that of just being able to like take hard things and trust God with them, or take the people that I love and trust God with them. And so that's really good. I'm in counseling. I have a counselor who I love. She's an art therapist that I am crazy about. And I was in counseling yesterday even, and in my time, and we were just talking about like, who am I now versus 3 years ago?
Yeah. As
I'm, like navigating this new job of kind of re-entering, working from outside the home again. And I just, part of that is just this, a sense of really just peace in the midst of, they used to tease me, like I'd be running from the children's wing to the office and back again on a Sunday morning and things like that. And I think I'm really happy right now to just be and be with people and not feel like I have to have hustle. Yeah. Yeah, if that makes sense.
So what was kind of the main driving factor in accepting this role? Like you've held it before. What was it that was like, yes, now is a time to come back and to step into this role?
Well, that's a really good question. So a couple weeks ago, Brad asked me that up on stage. And I think, I wanted to really acknowledge as I stepped into this role that, this is a season of transition. And I wanted to really acknowledge, like, transition is hard.
Yes.
And it can be really disorienting, and there's oftentimes a piece of grief that comes along with that for people as they process, change and transition, especially of people and staffing and things like that. And I really felt... Well, I felt like God, I'd said no to a number of things over the last couple of years. And this was one of those things where when I was asked to consider it, well, one, I was just completely caught off guard. But over the course of like a week or so, as we were kind of trying to pray through it and consider it, I felt very deeply like God said, this is your yes, and you need to say it. But a big piece of that was, I know that change is hard, and I know transition is hard. I'm a military kid. I moved every 6 months, year and a half growing up. And so I hate goodbyes. I'm terrible with goodbyes and transition. But I wanted to be able, I felt like because I have relationships here and I have been here and I know a lot of the families. I know the staff. I really, like, my prayer in all of this has been that I could be a comfort and a healing presence and a safe space, knowing that I was sitting in church one Sunday during communion, and, people were walking up, and I was just like, oh, that person is just so dear to me. Oh, that person, I remember like praying about this together. Or, oh, I've walked through this with them. Or, oh, they have ministered to me in this moment. And I just...
Which is going to happen when you've been here 17 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And because it is the family of God, I felt like God said, you're in a unique position to be able to come in and hopefully be a comfort to families and to kids in transition, to be a comfort to staff in the midst of transition, to hopefully be a comfort to Sarah in the midst of transition, and to be a bridge kind of in all of that. And one of the verses that I had shared up front on Sunday morning was just... I love 1 Thessalonians 2:8 that says, we were delighted not only to share the gospel of God with you, but also our lives, because you had become so dear to us. And I feel like that is, the hallmark of what ministry and family life looks like within the church, or can look like within the church. And so knowing that I just really love the people that are here, and it is a season of life I could say yes. On the heels of some times where I wouldn't have been able to say yes, I've just been grateful to be able to come in and hopefully just be a comfort.
Yeah.
And to be able to use my gifts and to really love people well in the middle of transition.
Yeah. So you've already spoken a little bit to these next couple of questions that I'll combine. But what are you looking forward to in this season of ministry, and or what are your goals in this season of ministry?
Yeah.
And by the way, if you hear weird clanking sounds, there's, I don't know, somebody's moving something. Doors are slamming.
I bet they're moving tables, because on Sunday
yes.
after church, we have an opportunity for families and kids to have pizza after lunch to connect with each other. And so I'm guessing they may be moving some tables to get ready for that.
And maybe you don't hear that, and that's great if it's the microphones aren't picking it up. But anyway, so yeah, what are you looking forward to? What are your goals?
Sure. I think like we were just talking about, one of my big goals right now is to just be with people, to gather people, to reach out to people, to walk through life, to see how people are doing, to comfort people, and so there's that piece of things. One of the things I shared a couple weeks ago is that we can hold two things at once.
Yes.
And so on one hand, we've got this, like, there's this piece of transition, and then my role is to kind of help people to process or to grieve that transition piece. And we can also hold, on the other hand, that God is big, that he has beautiful things still in store for our kids and families and our church. And so, so I think part of my role right now is that, like, transitional comfort piece, and part of it is to continue to trust God for what he is doing in the lives of kids and families. So I am looking forward to, like, having these opportunities where families can gather. I have loved, we have done Awana together, has come back after Christmas break. And so I've had my first 2 Awana togethers this last 2 weeks, and that has been a delight to do storytelling with the kids, to gather with the parents and grandparents and caregivers who are bringing kids. I've really enjoyed that. I'm looking forward to continuing to kind of help us bring back some of our disability ministry pieces that we can, that were kind of put on hiatus due to the pandemic. So I'm hoping there could be some of those things. Our kids are going to sing for Palm Sunday, and I love it when we get to have our kids sing and worship and be a part of that. And so, I think right now I don't even know sometimes what I don't know yet.
Yep.
Like, it's kind of like each day I'm kind of like, okay, what do I need to know?
What do I need to know?
What do I need to know next? I'm like, oh, that's on the calendar. Okay, we should know that. That's good. I know that now. And have loved the volunteers. Shelley, as we already mentioned,
Yes.
has been amazing. The staff have been super great to walk alongside. But I think just trusting God as a ministry to, to give healing and closure to some things, and also to look ahead to knowing He's still good in the midst of transition. The other thing is we are giving families the opportunity, or anyone from the church. We're gathering things. We want to honor Sarah, Pastor Sarah, who everybody really loves and has been a part of the fabric of the church for the last 3 years here. So if you have been ministered to by Pastor Sarah, you can bring a card or a small gift and you can drop those off, or we have cards at our welcome desk, our kids desk, for families and for people to fill out for Pastor Sarah, so we can give her a care package and just also, let her know she is loved in the midst of transition.
I get to see her this weekend.
Yay!
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Midwinter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Midwinter is the conference that our denomination does, and Kevin gets to go.
I get to see her there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Great.
And then, pardon me. What are some things that you would like prayer for as you step into this role?
Sure. Well, on a ministry front, obviously it is a season of transition, so just praying that God would do all that He needs to in that process. We are short some volunteers still, so we need a couple of more volunteers for Sunday morning, and we need a couple of volunteers for Wednesday night. So our Wednesday night crew tends to be is a weekly. People are there every week with those. And then Sunday mornings, people volunteer once a month, twice a month, kind of whatever works. So that's one thing we're praying for, is some people to fill in some of those gaps. And praying, I think, just that sense of togetherness and being with people. I know Brad has talked a lot about that right now too, but I'm praying that people would really connect with Jesus and connect with each other, and that we would give opportunities where people can really do that well across multi-generations. So that's something from the ministry standpoint. Personally, we're in a season, like this is a transition for our family, for me to go back to work. So we're just adjusting to like a new normal for that. Our daughter, Emily, right now she was diagnosed with a dysautonomia in the fall. And so some autonomic nervous system stuff that we were trying to navigate. And then she got mono. So she's been really sick and kind of knocked on her tail from that. So that God would continue to heal.
There's so many random illnesses.
There's a lot of stuff going around right now
this year.
Yeah.
And just so many different ones.
Yeah. We have no idea where she encountered that.
Yeah.
And so praying that she would feel better. But I think, just that I would continue to be intentional about taking care of my interior life and my walk with Jesus in the midst of ministry and of being a mom and a wife and a caregiver. I fill the caregiver role for James in our home too and stuff. So that we would be able to do those things.
Yeah.
Would be great.
All right. Well, before we go, is there anything else that you would just like to say to our audience, to our families? Anything that you want to add?
I just think, reiterating that I love you. I am here for you. If there's ways that I can pray for you or serve you or come alongside you. I really like hugs, so feel free to give me hugs, high fives. I can't believe the kid, it's been interesting. So because of the pandemic and whatnot, some of the kids are in my brain the ages that they were in 2020.
Before the pandemic.
And so I see kids now that I had kids, in my first, the last time I was in this role, I had kids, and now they're like middle schoolers and high schoolers. And I'm like, no, you're 3 and you're 6 and you're 8, how are you?
No, actually they're like 27 and 42.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, but it's fun to see kids grow up, to be able to partner with youth to.
So we're coming back from a battery mishap. We don't remember where we were, but Vicki was just sharing some things to be praying about, and we're.
And
neither of us can remember where we were.
we can't, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I think, just know, like, your staff love you. We care for you. We're here for you.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that God is going to continue to do beautiful things in his time.
Amen. Well, that's a good place to end, I think. So, Vicki, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining our staff and filling this role for this season, however long it is. Just a reminder, make sure you subscribe, leave a review, all the things. We just love to hear from you and how we can better support you with this podcast. So, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day.
Thanks.